Welcome to another Capital Board Games review.
Hey guys, Mark from Capital Board Games, and today we're looking at this game, which is Tokaido from designer Antoine Bauza. And this is a game which has recently become quite popular in our board gaming group, so much so that actually several of our members have bought it. So let's have a bit of a look at it. Let's see how it's played, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Here we have Tokaido set up for a two-player game, and the goal in this game is to take a little character who's going to be represented by one of these little wooden meeples and move them along the Tokaido. And as they move along, they're going to be visiting these different tourist attractions. So, for example, they might go to the shop and buy some souvenirs. They might go to the temple and donate some gold. They might have an encounter with a local. And all these things are going to be earning them points, different amounts of points for different types of activities. And some of them are based on sets. So let's go ahead and start the game, and then I'll explain how it works. So at the start of the game, each player is going to choose one of two different characters to play. So if we have a look at these character cards, they all start with a certain amount of gold. They all have a name. I won't try pronouncing the name, so I'll just use their first letter. So for example, Y here, who starts with 9 gold, he gets to choose, whenever he has an encounter, he gets to choose 2 encounter cards and then pick which one he actually has. Versus Z here, who I think is called Zenomon, is a merchant from the looks of it. He starts with 6 gold, and whenever he goes to the shop, he gets to buy 1 item for 1 coin instead of the marked price. So I think I'm going to go with Zenomon here. So I've put the green token in the card, I've put his green character on the board, and a green scoring marker over here. Similarly for purple, I've decided to go with H. He starts with 3 gold, and whenever he goes to the inn, he's going to get to take 1 green or 1 blue panorama card. So we'll get to that in a minute. So let's go ahead and set it up for the start of the game. Alright, so you can see here that we've given each character their starting money. Now we're going to go to the board, and in Tokaido, the last player on the board is always the first to go. So in this case, it's green, so last is determined by the one most to the left, and then the furthest away from the actual icon that represents the location where they're at. In this case, they're both at the starting inn. So green might come along and he might decide, oh well, he's going to go to the shop. Now he can actually move to any one of these spaces, up to and including the first inn. The players always have to meet at each one of these inns that is marked on the board. So he might decide, oh well, he'll go to the shop. So at the shop, we find the matching cards, and we take the first 3 item cards. So with these items, what you're going to see is that each item has a name, a cost, and the type of item. And it's a set collection. So a set is made up of 4 cards of 4 different types. Here you can see we have cards of 3 different types. And with this way the scoring works is that when you get the first card of your set, you get 1 point. When you get the second, you get 3 points. The third is 5th, and the 7th is, the 4th is 7th. And you can have as many sets as you like, but obviously you make points by making sets of the different types. So let's see how this might play out, and I hope you can see this. I'm just going to put it on the table. So Z here might use his special ability to buy one of these cards for 1 coin. So you might use that ability on the most expensive one, which costs 3, and just pay 1 to buy that. Then he comes along and he pays the full price for these other 2, so that's a total of 3. And then he immediately scores. So they're all of a different type, so that's a set. So he gets 1 point, 3 points, and 5 points for a total of 9 points. So he adds those to his play area, like this, and immediately takes the 9 points. And that's the end of the turn, because green's already done something, so now it's purple's turn. So purple comes along and decides what he wants to do. Now purple can't go to the shop because it's currently occupied. In a 3 or 4 player game, this second space becomes available, but because it's only a 2-player game, it's not actually available in this game, and it's blocked. So you might decide, oh well, he wants to do something else. So perhaps he'll come along and go and have an encounter. So again, we take the matching card. In this case, we just take the top card, and have a look at what it is. So this time we've got a fellow called Anabaito, and it looks like he gives us a free blue panorama card. So we set that aside and we take the first panorama card. So again, these work in sets. The first card is worth 1 point, the second card is worth 2 points, the third card is worth 3 points, and so on. So each blue or leg set has five cards. The mountain sets have 4 cards, and the rice paddy sets have 3 cards. So that's worth a point, and then we turn it over and we set it up in the play area. So that's 1 point, and now purple's had his turn. So the next turn again is going to be green, because the green is furthest behind, and green can't go and have an encounter here because that one's currently taken. So he might decide, oh well, he'd like to do something different. He'll go to the hot springs. So again, we go to the matching card. This time it's the hot springs. We have a look at what it says, and this one says take 2 points. Okay, fine, nice and easy. So again, we put that in our play area, and we take the 2 points. Now, purple might decide, oh well, his money's running a little bit low, so he'd like to do something different. He'd like to go to the farm and do some work. Now, you don't get any points for going to the farm, but you straight away get 3 coins. So you're kind of foregoing the opportunity to get points to get some coins, which you can use later for something else. And so on. The game continues like this. So green could go and do any one of these things, but he's going to go to the inn, which is the final stop for any given section of the Tokaido. So when you get to the inn, the first player who arrives there takes 3 of these inn cards and has a look at them. And they each have a meal. You can see here, here's the name of the meal, a picture of the meal, and how much it costs. And they all give you 6 victory points. Now, one of the rules of the game is that you cannot have the same meal twice. So, green as the first player chooses this one, which starts with an N. So he puts this here and immediately takes 2, 4, 6 points. And then puts the other 2 back in the slot. So purple hasn't seen what's available at this point. Purple has a turn, and he might decide, oh well, he might like to get the second panorama card for the lake. So he comes along and gets the second one. Now the second one is worth 2 points, as we discussed earlier, and it's got the next bit of this nice painting. So he sets that down there, and these do actually form real panoramas as you set them up along. So that's worth 2 points. So he takes his 2 points. And that's the end of that. Now, green's already at the inn and is still ahead, so purple can have another turn. He could go to any one of these locations. So he can go to the mountain location and take the first mountain panorama card, so he gets a point for that. Then he can go to the hot springs and take a hot spring card. So straight away, that's another 3 points for purple. So that's 2, 3. And then finally purple gets to the inn. So as soon as purple gets to the inn, his special ability kicks in. He can take a blue or green panorama card. So he takes the next panorama. This one's worth 3 points and has the next little bit of the picture. So he puts that there, takes his 3 points, and now he gets a chance to buy a meal. Now, if he didn't have any money, he wouldn't be able to buy a meal at this point, and so he wouldn't get the 6 points for it. But since he does have money, he is going to also buy this meal. So he pays 1 coin for that and takes 6 points for it. So that's 2, 4, 6. And now this one goes to the bottom of this pile. So now that the players have both been to the inn and had an opportunity to buy a meal, the game continues. Purple would go first, and again the players can go any number of spaces as long as they meet at the next inn, and they're going to do that on each section until all the players reach the final inn. Once all the players have reached the last inn, the player with the most points wins. And that in a nutshell is Tokaido. And welcome back. So now that we've had a bit of a look about it, let's see what I like and dislike about it anyway. So there's some things I really like about this game. First of all, and this is something I talk about quite often, but I really like the artwork in this game. It's got this really beautiful sort of Asian style artwork. You can probably see some of it here on the box. That's quite lovely. The cards, the board itself, everything is just really nicely done, and the quality of it as well is very good. So again, the board's really good. The cards are nice, thick card. The pieces are wooden, so you know they're quite good quality. The gameplay is really fun. Now it's pretty lightweight. I mean, this is a very chilled out kind of game. It's a good game again for sort of the start of your gaming session, or yeah, just to sort of ease everybody in, or maybe if you've got players who you know, haven't played too many board games before. I mean, it's pretty much you stop on a spot, and you know, whatever that spot does, you resolve the card that goes with it. You know, you get your panorama card, or you get your hot spring card, or you go to the shop and you buy some stuff, and you know, you get your points. So it's not too difficult. It's not one of those games where there's lots and lots of strategy. You know, we do play some of those games, and definitely we have some people in our group who love those, you know, like really deep strategy games, but this isn't one of those. This is actually a fairly easy game to play. Now, that's not to say there isn't some strategy in it, and there's definitely ways that you can block your opponents by, for example, going in a spot where you know they want to go, so you go there instead. But on the whole, it's pretty easy going. Like I said, it's a good kind of like lightweight intro game. Now that leads me into the cons, which is also that if you've got a group of, you know, really hardcore gamers who like deep strategy games, well, this game's probably not going to keep them very entertained for very long. However, there are two expansions for it. One's called Crossroads, which is a really good expansion that adds a whole extra set of cards, which give you essentially a choice of 2 different actions that you can do at every one of the locations. So that does add some more strategy. And then the second expansion adds events which occur at the inn. So a good example is I played a game recently, and I was the merchant, and one of the other players knew that I was going for the shops, and he got an event card that actually closed the shops for one game section until we got to the next inn, which of course, yeah, really annoyed me, but worked well for him. So there is actually some legs to this game if you get the expansion. But like I said, if you just have the base set, it's a good beginner game. Anyway, those are my thoughts. On the whole, I really like this game. I think it's good fun. It does get played, you know, we have a weekly board game session, and I would say every 2 to 3 weeks this game would come out. So it's a pretty good one. It probably fits in the same category as a game like Tsuro, which is, you know, also kind of lightweight, but you know, there is actually some strategy to it, and it's very interactive because there's a lot of talking. There's a lot, oh, you know, you took my spot, I really wanted that, or oh wow, that's very nice. So again, it's a very kind of like player interactive game. Maybe not as interactive as some of the social deception games, that kind of thing, but there's a lot going on in this game that does encourage player interaction. Okay, so all in all, that's the Marky thumbs up.